streets of Brooklyn, where stories grow wild to the glow of the stage where the dream meets the child. A quiet flame, a hidden spark, drawn to the words that lit up the dark. Curtains rose and so did he, finding power in poetry. One voice, one mic, one sacred truth. Every word he spoke uncaged the youth. He saw the world try to silence the bold, but his soul was wired to break the mold.
Welcome to Born to Speak to You TV, the show where we speak life into the moments that matter. And I'm your host, Calvin Gibbs. And today's conversation is for all of you dreamers, the builders, and the leaders who know that they were called for more, but maybe still trying to find the courage to use their voice. This episode is titled From Vision to Voice, Speaking Life into Your Business. Because vision alone isn't enough. Passion alone isn't enough. At some point, you have to give your vision a voice. And that voice has to be clear, it has to be confident, and it has to be aligned with who you truly are. Today, I'm joined by Nicky Cuesta, who is the founder and CEO of BALM Global. And Nicky helps leaders stop shrinking, own their own voice, and build businesses that reflect purpose and not pressure. In this episode, you'll discover how to move from having a vision to confidently speaking it into existence. While your voice is one of the most powerful business assets that you have, and what it takes to build with purpose, clarity, and sustainability. And how speaking life into yourself, into your leadership, and into your business changes everything. So we'll be right back after this short video. This is Born to Speak to You TV. Welcome to Born to Speak to You TV, where we're speaking life into the moments that matter. This isn't just a show. It's a movement. It's a space where stories are honored, voices are lifted, and truth has a mic. Each episode, we dive into powerful conversations on identity, on equity, growth, healing, leadership, and the courage that it takes to speak up in a world that often wants us to keep quiet. Whether it's through personal testimony, community impact, or artistic expression, Born to Speak to You is where voices rise and change begin. Our mission is simple: to empower people to use their voice, own their truth, and build bridges of communication and understanding. So, sit back or lean in, because you're about to witness what happens when passion meets purpose. This is Born to Speak to You TV. Let's speak life. And this is Born to Speak to You TV. I'm your host, Calvin Gibbs, and today I have a guest with me. I want to introduce her properly. Nicky Cuesta is a visionary entrepreneur. She's an author, she's a speaker, and she helps leaders show up with clarity, confidence, and purpose. As I mentioned earlier, she is the founder and CEO of BALM Global. She builds coaching, media, and leadership platforms that turns vision into action and passion into profit. I love that. Known for her strategic, heart-centered approach, Nicky empowers others to live authentically and build sustainable success. Nicky, welcome to Born to Speak to You. You're on mute.
Thank you so much, Calvin, for that introduction. I am so happy to be here and just talk about purpose and life and vision. I'm a walking testimony of what that is, and any way that I can give back on how the dreamers can really turn their dreams into reality. I am all in.
All right. So as I like to say, let's jump into the deep end because that's where the party's at, and let's get going. I want to start with vision and your personal journey so we can know a little bit more about you. Take us back to the moment when you knew it was time to leave corporate America. What did that decision awaken in you?
The time that I knew it was time to make my grand exit was after COVID, was after 14 years of serving in healthcare, business corporation. I thought that they were going to have to drag me out, love what I did, who I served, but the the work and the time put into it did not match the pay or the title. And being a corporate trainer and being able to build systems, sitting down with the directors, the VPs, and still not having a position that can place me to really keep me there, I was like, something has to give. I have to break my own glass ceiling. Also, every lunch break, I'm always talking about how I wanted to build a community and just really help individuals just figure out what lifestyle we want to live, what path do we want to take as far as our lives. I know that working corporate America is the stepping stone of really building out any career that you look to build, and becoming an entrepreneur was that. I wanted to be the boss of my life. So I didn't want to have to answer to anyone, and I just wanted to really impact. And that vision was just stirring up. And in COVID, it was that time where we either had two decisions. We either waited it till it passed by, or we figured it out. And I did some internal inventory, and September of 2020 made decisions to go out on a week long of PTO, being able to get all the evidence that I can make it in the notary business. And then God told me, if not now, when I was trying to still stay. And that was the turning point. October of 2020 was that day I said goodbye to corporate America and hello to entrepreneurship.
I think during that time of 2020, a lot of us made decisions to pivot and do different things. A lot of times it wasn't because of necessity, but because we didn't know what was ahead. And it was like, it's time to do something else. Make sure that, funds can keep coming in. Some people found this is the time for me to be happy. I don't have a job anymore. It's time for me to do something different. But when you first stepped into entrepreneurship, how clear was your vision really? I'm going somewhere with this.
Yes, I had no plan. All I had was faith. All I had was I just made a decision that I was grateful that I had notary as the vehicle out, because a couple years prior, I was a realtor and found out really quickly I did not even have the time to build that type of business, because I was working 60 to 80 hours a week, a lot of overtime. And I just never gave it the attention. And I found out really quickly I didn't like the paperwork anyway. So notary was the next best thing. And that was my vehicle out. So no plan B. I just did it. Really just soaked every signing in to create just my model, my day to day. I was able to spend more time with family, travel more, do the things that I couldn't do before. But there was no clear plan at first. It was just doing and getting it done.
Okay, I definitely understand that. A lot of people need to take that first step, even though they may not have everything totally figured out or know exactly what they need to do, but you got to start moving and do something, right? So what did using your voice look like for you in the early stages versus now? Because I know it's got to be a difference.
Oh, absolutely. Because the early stages wasn't really about my voice. It was just, doing another job, servicing individuals, just telling them, hey, This is where you sign for your refinance, and they'll mail the check when they'll mail the check. So it wasn't really servicing in the capacity that I'm serving now. It took me 2 years for the notary to actually become an opportunity to become a coach, which was, again, not in the plan. So after 2 years of doing notary, I had people asking me like, hey, how do you become a notary? And I'm like, here's an email, here's the website, here are the supplies you need. And I kind of just left it there. But when it kept happening, I'm like, God is giving me a sign here. So I had to really sit with that. And in 48 hours, I created my first coaching program called the Kickstart Notary Mastery Course. I locked in my first 5 clients, and to date, I've graduated 25 through my program. Some are really successful, doing some great things in notary, and have also built additional businesses beyond that. And that has been like, that was the start. That happened in March of 2022 when I turned 40, which is kind of a little close to where it kind of led into what I'm doing today.
Okay.
So yeah.
Well, fantastic. And Nikki, some people have vision. They have vision, but they struggle to speak it. They struggle to make it something real. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think people don't understand that they have the power within
Mm,
them. They
mm.
were born with it. They were gifted, a genius, and it's just our responsibility as individuals walking this world to figure out what that is and find that purpose through our experiences. So until you find it, until you have that person that tells you, and sometimes we even ignore this. Do you know you can make money with that? Have you ever charged for that?
Right.
How many people have you coached as a like relationship counselor, and you're not sending invoices for anything, because sometimes we also feel that we need, the documentation, the experience, the actual paper saying, hey, we can help you on this. They're great. They're useful. A lot of people want them. They want quality experts when they're, giving their funds to these individuals. But it's really just, again, finding what burns your soul to
Mm.
really impact others, and that's when you get your voice. Once you find that one person in your life that's going to tell you what's your story, because that's what happened to me, that's when it kind of all unfolds. But you have to be ready and open to receive that and move immediately.
Now, for the viewers out there, I hope you heard what Nikki said. She started this last answer with the words, people are born. You are born. That's what we talk about here at Born to Speak to You. You are born to do certain things, to get out of your shell, to be entrepreneurs, speakers, writers, whatever it may be. You are born to get your story out there. So thank you for that, Nikki. And I'm going to ask you this question. I know you probably have a lot of different aspects to this answer, but give me one meaning. What does it fully mean to speak life into one's business?
Hmm. What does it really mean to speak life into one's business, whether it's your own or to others or those that you serve? It's really about understanding the identity of what you are trying to put out there, not just yourself, but everything that comes along with it. So, in understanding what that is, it's going to take time, it's going to take work, it's going to take self inventory, it's going to take self reflection. So, the importance of just knowing that it's just powerful. It's kind of unexplainable, because when you walk this faith of entrepreneurship, you're speaking life to it. Sometimes we worry about the things we don't need to worry about, like, why didn't it happen this way? Why did it? It's always, I'm all about solutions and problem solving. So when you're speaking positivity, when you're creating something that is transforming someone's life, that's going to get them to the destination that they're looking for, it's so important to just understand that you have to speak life into it and manifest what you want. I was actually reading my book on a lot of things that I wrote that I actually wasn't, it was basically the introduction to what I'm doing now. I hadn't even built it. I was just writing a book of how to, because I knew the concepts. But actually reflecting on the book, I'm like, okay, I spoke life into it before I even had it. So it starts immediately when the idea is downloaded.
Okay. Good stuff, Nikki. This is great stuff. Thank you so much. We're going to take a little break right now. We're going to do a Born to Rise tip video. And when we come back, we're going to get more into business strategy and execution right here on Born to Speak to You TV. This is Calvin Gibbs with Born to Speak to You TV, and here's your Born to Rise tips. Sometimes the best things you can do is not think, not wonder, not imagine, don't obsess. Just breathe and have faith that everything will work out for the best. Oftentimes we make ourselves sick, worrying, obsessing, having anxiety about what's going to be. Just have faith that everything is going to come out okay. And usually it does. The things that you're worrying about have no merit in your life. They're there to confuse you, to make you feel weak, to make you feel inadequate. So the best thing you can do is don't worry about it. Don't think about it. Don't wonder about it. Don't obsess over it. Just have faith that everything will work out for the best.
From the streets of Brooklyn, where stories grow wild, to the glow of the stage where the dream meets the child. A quiet flame, a hidden spark, drawn to the words that lit up the dark.
And we are back. This is Born to Speak to You TV. I'm your host, Calvin Gibbs. My guest today is Nicky Cuesta, and we are talking about from vision to voice, speaking life into your business. Now, in the first segment, Nicky gave us some great tips, told us a little bit about her journey, finding and owning your voice. And now I want to get a little bit more into like the business strategy and execution. Can you explain, Nicky, your path to project approach and how it supports long-term success?
Yeah, so it's something that we have adopted, a formula I created 2 years ago that I had used on myself as I was building my business. I had little bits and pieces years before that, but I really zoned in on the 7 foundations of really starting a successful business, keeping it profitable, from your executive summary all the way to your marketing analysis, your positioning, and really your financial growth that you're looking to put together. So I had offered it to our Ladies of Leadership community as a beta run. It's a questionnaire that they fill out, just kind of getting a little bit from their core values all the way to what their vision is, whether they're an established business or they're just starting, or they just, they have a business, but they don't know where to go with it. Like they have the idea, it's registered, but it's in the very early stages, and then it's the idea. So once we get that questionnaire, what I do is I plug it into a formula based on the 7 foundations and what I want it to really spit back out at me. So it has been very eye-opening to really help our ladies really position themselves and start their businesses, which help launch about 7 LLCs last year after the first run, of giving them their 12-month blueprint. And it comes with a schedule and it comes with a checklist. So in running that and kind of tweaking it as the years went on, the biggest mission for 2026 is to really not just give someone a roadmap that just says, hey, these are the things you need to build, but what within them can you create to make it substance, right? To add that meat and potatoes into your organization, where you're just not a one dimension type of business, but you have a variety of all your passions and turning it into profit. So I don't care if you want to sell pens, we're going to figure out a way for you to sell some amazing pens.
Right.
That's just, something that I say to my ladies and to those that I have served. And we've had such an amount of just looking at it, it's a little bit scary because you're like, how am I going to get all this done? But the greatest part about what we've created with BALM Global is that we have the support, right? It's not like, hey, here you go. You can take it and try to create it yourself. But we also have a next level where we have the systems to build it for you or give you access to build that out. So that's our biggest mission right now. It's called the BALM Global Path to Profit Blueprint and our CRM access.
Okay, thank you for that. Now, I know that with all those resources, your clients still need to have their voice. And I would like to ask you very briefly, what is the clarity of voice? And I mean, how does it impact profitability and sustainability in a business?
Yeah, because now you're clear. You're 100,000% clear of what your mission is, who you're serving, and how to get it done. So that is as simple as I can really create what this is. And it's your voice. It's what you want. You decide, right? Because you answer these questions based on how you want your business to look like. Now it's not a program that's given to you and say, hey, learn this and then duplicate that. No, it's what I want to see based on my skills, my expertise, my values. I can clearly see the picture from start to end.
Okay, great. This is some great information. What systems or habits are essential once a leader finds their voice?
What systems? Oh my goodness. So obvious
or habits.
Oh, habits. Yeah. Boundaries, just all types of things. Like you need to have, first of all, your mindset. It always goes back to mindset because we can create and build whatever we want. But if we're not in that right mindset or have the tools to adapt and adjust to the challenges, the barriers, the setbacks, right? They're not failures. They're all learning lessons. I'm all about really collecting the data. I'm all about taking that leap of faith, that courage. If it's a burning desire inside you and you're creating it, you have to be all in. So the habit is consistency is number one, showing up each and every time, even if you don't want to, that you don't feel well. I don't encourage to burn out, but you definitely have to show up. Only you can share your voice, your brand on what you're creating so that your business can grow. And if you're not there, who's running the show, right?
That's right. Yep, that's what I call the grind. Once you get the mindset in place, I do a workshop on this. Once the mindset is in place, then comes the grind. And that means you're going to do whatever you need to do. If it's repetitious, if it's every day, whether you feel like it, whether you don't, want to do it, you're tired, whatever the case may be, you're going to grind it out because that's going to lead you to your success. So thank you very much for validating that. And now I want to move into leadership and alignment. And I want to ask you, how do your faith, your resilience, your lived experience shape the way that you lead and mentor others?
Oh goodness. This one's a tough one for me because a lot of my growth and success has always been through things that have happened in my life that really made me open my eyes and see that life is too short. First in 2004, having, my adopted dad, who gave me his last name, actually pass away. And having to find out my brother at the same time was suffering with an addiction that took, 14 years before we lost him to accidental overdose. And those were all at points that I was hitting the next level, whether I was starting my corporate job, whether I was trying to get into real estate. Everything came with something behind it, and just having the courage to say, hey, these are things that's going to push me closer. Yes, I had to grieve the losses. But I think the biggest thing is that we hold on to our past and try to give it a what's that called? Try to give it energy that's only going to stop us from moving forward. So yeah, when it comes to that, it's all about just getting it done. Like, I can't stress that enough. It's really hard. And you have to be built for that. So the resilience is not to be resilient towards the greatness that you're about to put out to this world, is being resilient to what's stopping you. Like, you need to push that aside because the mission is greater.
Absolutely. Sometimes it's resilience to distractions, to our human nature of wanting to have fun and not push ourselves. So I definitely agree with that. How do you balance heart-centered leadership with strategic decision making? Because there's a little balance there that needs to happen. How do you do that?
Yeah. So I'm always a heart-centered leader first, right? And then what was the second part to that? Because this is a loaded one.
Yep. Well, it's how do you balance heart-centered leadership with strategic decision making?
So this is so good. This is so good because I can go so many different ways just on how I navigate this. Is because I'm all about, does it serve me? Does it not serve me? Is it serving my mission? Like, everything has to tie together in order for me to make that decision. I don't take long to make a decision if it feels right, if it's aligned. I'm discerning of who I'm making that decision to or with. So the balance is really identifying that there's a period of time that you have to make sure that you put in where you're really identifying what are the pros and cons. And again, they have to align with everything that you're building. So that's how you balance it out, is taking the time to do that, to question the purpose of the next decision you're going to make.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. And the reason that I asked those questions, because that's some things that I found out about myself as a leader. True, I want to lead the team, or I want to show them that this is the way to go. But sometimes I have to step back and put myself into their shoes. Okay. Once upon a time, I may have been walking in their shoes. How did I move forward? How can I convince them or show them the way, considering what they may be going through? And I think that's when the heart-centered leadership comes in. I believe that all leaders should have a heart for who they are leading. And that's another topic for another show, for another day, maybe even a different show entirely, a different podcast. But we're going to take a break right here. And when we come back, we'll continue this discussion with Nicky Cuesta. This is Born to Speak to You TV. We'll be right back in 60 seconds. And we are back. And now it's time for Straight Talk with Calvin. Let's have a little straight talk for a moment. A lot of people have vision, but not everyone is willing to use their voice. You say you want the business. You say you want the impact. You say you want that next level. But here's the truth. If you won't speak life into your vision, don't expect anyone else to believe in you. Too many entrepreneurs are managing their business instead of leading it. I'm going to say that again. Too many entrepreneurs are managing their business instead of leading it. They've got the idea, but they're whispering it. They got the purpose, but they're hiding it. They've got the calling, but they're waiting for permission. Just let me be clear with this. You don't need permission to speak life. You need courage. Your voice is not an add-on to your business. Your voice is your business. When your words match your vision, people listen. When your message matches your purpose, doors will open. And when you stop shrinking, your business stops stalling. So the question is real simple. Straight talk. Are you just holding a vision, or are you ready to give it a voice? That's today's Straight Talk. Now let's get back to the conversation. We'll be right back. This is Calvin Gibbs, and this is the segment we like to call Born to Rise. I'd rather have an enemy who admits they hate me instead of a friend who secretly puts me down. Yes, I would rather have somebody that says, Calvin, I do not like you, because I know where that person's coming from. They're being honest. They're being truthful. I know which category to put them in. But when you have a friend who secretly puts you down behind your back, say they got your back when they're talking to you, facing you, and then secretly behind your back, they're talking about you, they're laughing at you, they're hoping you don't be successful. Now, give me the enemy. Give me the enemy any day that admits that they hate my guts instead of a friend, or what I perceive to be a friend, who secretly puts me down. That's your tip for today. This is Born to Rise, and I'm Calvin Gibbs. This is Born to Speak to You TV.
From the streets of Brooklyn, where stories grow wild, to the glow of the stage where the dream meets the child. A quiet flame, a hidden spark, drawn to the words that lit up the dark.
And we are back. This is Born to Speak to You TV. I'm your host, Calvin Gibbs. And man, we've been getting great big nuggets of information from my guest today, Nicky Cuesta. We've been talking about from vision to voice, speaking life into your business. And next, Nicky, I want to ask a few questions about growth and impact. Through initiatives like your Ladies of Leadership and Youth Rising, what transformations have you witnessed in people once they stop shrinking?
Oh, goodness. I think the perfect example I can actually give of a true journey of transformation for just a Ladies of Leadership member is actually my best friend of 38 years that did not want, like, she is not an entrepreneur. She did not want anything to do with what I had going on, because she always was a behind the scenes friend, right? But she's seen me on vacation on my 20-year anniversary, and she seen me with my laptop, and she asked me one day, like, hey, can someone help you? Like, can someone work for you that doesn't live in your state? I said, you don't have to say another thing. You start on February, whatever date it was. And I built a team right there, did not have any idea of building a team. I was so a solopreneur, just building everything. And her entering into this space and just joining our calls and, watching all the women just, share their stories, that in a year when she took our This Is Me masterclass that we created, she is now our executive manager. She
Wow.
has her own podcast, that she had kickstarted. She runs a team, the all the membership, and she builds her own strategy. So she's bringing ideas. So that's really helping them, not just as an employee of mine and just my best friend, but also being able to give her the tools so that she grows. So she didn't know about, having a word of the year, and her first word of the year was growth, which it totally night and day, the biggest transformation, but also watching women, get their first client and then get a repeated client, and really taking the tools and the resources that we have available to them and taking action. And you talked about courage in one of your in one of these commercials, and that's actually the first chapter in my book of Create Success is courage. You can't Nothing's going to happen unless you just step into that courage and just figure it out, tag someone in. Like, you don't have to do this alone. So being able to witness women really transform and use their voice and start their podcast, write their first books, it has
Mm.
been absolutely phenomenal. I truly feel blessed that God even placed this in my world, and I'm just stewarding it. Right? It's not about me. It's not about BALM Global. Yes, I pour into these communities, speakers, author, coaches, but it's really God just using me as a vessel to be able to do it. So I am all for it.
All right, all right. Now we've mentioned both of us has mentioned a little bit about what happened in 2020 and the pandemic. From a leadership point of view, how do you speak life during difficult or uncertain seasons in business?
Yeah, it's hard when we don't understand that every experience in our life, it's for a reason. What we go through is for a reason, and understanding that and being able to use your experience to help another soul. Like, you went through that so someone else could hear your story and be able to move as well and get the tools that you got that help you overcome it. Now that becomes part of their manual, right? Their workbook, their go-to, their Bible, whatever you want to call it. That's what we go through these things for. That's what life gives us, these moments. They're teachable moments. Everything, every single conversation, everything leads to another conversation that leads to another conversation. And that's the ripple effect of really being able to heal, to grow, to learn, and to absorb and really find your voice and your purpose, and being able to live life on purpose, because you're on that trajectory of really just using your voice and spreading the word.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Thank you for that. I often tell part of my story where just before the pandemic, maybe 3 years before, I was working in a company that was very toxic. And they brought in a manager that knew nothing about the business, but she had experience in what that department did, but she didn't know the business. And for some reason, she hated Mr. Gibbs. Nobody
Mhm.
could understand it because everybody loves Calvin, right? But she hated my guts. And it got to the point where I was getting written up for like breathing. Uh, I was her whipping person in meetings. I would raise my hand to answer a question or ask a question, and she would not even see me. Okay. And this is a small conference room, and she just ignored me like I wasn't even there. I often sat 30 minutes before I went into the building in the morning, wondering if we had enough bail money for what might happen when I walked through that door that morning. And everybody was like, Calvin, you have this going on. You're a speaker. You're doing this, that. Why are you here? You don't need to. Why are you here? Well, I was going through some health things at the time. I needed the insurance, blah, 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 blah. But after I got out of that situation, and that was in 2021, right after the pandemic, it was 2020. It was the day after Father's Day, 2020. Yes, that Monday morning, I went downstairs to my office to work, and my manager called and said, your job no longer exists. I said, thank you, Jesus. And then I started thinking about the experience of the last 3 years. There was lessons that I had to learn about myself as a person, as a leader, as a contributor, helping other people as well. And I didn't understand it when I was going through it, Nikki. I had to wait till I got out of it. Sometimes you can't see the forest for the trees, right? But when you get out of the forest, you can look back and say, oh, yeah, that's why I was going through that. So, yeah, that's what speaking life looks like during difficult and uncertain seasons in our lives. Let's move on to our next segment, which is reflection and takeaway. What's one truth, Nikki, about leadership or entrepreneurship that took you years to learn? What's one truth?
One truth that took me years to learn was really knowing how to just identify the market I was trying to speak to, just identifying who the person that needed to hear my voice the most, because there were times where you get on conversations and you get connected with some people that just don't fit, right? But as entrepreneurs, we're just trying to sell the business, especially when we're starting. We're trying to make sure we get clients, we start serving at all levels. So we just accept everyone and anyone. And those things can drain you when you have when you're targeting those that may not be ready, when you're if their mindset is not right, and you're teaching about mindset, and sometimes it takes a while for those to get it, and they have to be ready. So I learned very very quickly after, right, that all this time is that you have to make sure that you know who you're clearly speaking to, and just, oh my God, there's so much I can say about this too, because there's different aspects, there's so many different things, but it's really just knowing who you're speaking to, and not just taking on it all, right? You don't want to be the solopreneur. That's another thing we'll talk about. Right. Is sometimes we want to do all of it, and then we put something out there. We don't have time to promote it as much, so we think it's a failure, and it's not. It's just that we don't have the team that we need to also build as well. Like, again, we shouldn't be doing this alone. Looking at collaboration, there's so many different ways that you can definitely be a successful entrepreneur and a business owner if you just know what you want. And it's going to take time. It's going to take time, and you have to start from the idea of what that looks like. Plan it out. Sometimes we just have the idea, but we don't even know where to take them on the journey either to keep them. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Nikki. And I got a question for you. If someone is watching right now, a viewer's watching, they feel stuck between vision and action, what would you say directly to that person right now?
What do you have to lose? I always encourage you to bet on you, because you know what your capacity is, you know what your levels are. And I write a quote sometimes that I have to throw out. When someone tells you you can't, show them that you can. This is your dream, your desire. If you put your mind to it, convert that. You are always going to, when action is on play, when you're in action, in motion, that's when the results come. It doesn't come when you're standing still, and it will never come. So
Yeah.
I'll leave it there.
Sounds good. I was once told that I couldn't start a theater company in Chicago. I was fine going to auditions, dealing with other theater companies, but somebody told me I could not do it. So I did it. And for the next 15 years, we traveled around Chicago doing shows. We rented space as we did shows, had an audience of people following us. We had followings. They would follow us from north side, south side, all over Chicagoland. And we did this for 15 years. And that was all born out of somebody telling me, Calvin, you can't do it. Yeah. So we're going to take a break right here. And when we come back, we'll have the conclusion of this episode with Nicky Cuesta. This is Calvin Gibbs. This is Born to Speak to You TV, and we'll be right back. Hi, this is Calvin Gibbs with Born to Speak to You TV, and here's your Born to Rise tip for today. You're not stuck. You're just committed to certain patterns of behavior that in the past may have worked for you. But guess what? You've grown past those patterns of behavior. Now they're more harmful than they are helpful. And the reason that you can't move forward is because you keep applying an old formula to a new level in your life. That old formula, that is for where you were. But you've moved on to another level. And it's time to have a new formula, a new solution. So change the formula and get a different result. If you keep doing what you did when you were there, it's not going to work out. You've moved on to another level, change the formula, and step into your purpose. You were born to rise.
From the streets of Brooklyn, where stories grow wild, to the glow of the stage where the dream meets the child. A quiet flame, a hidden spark, drawn to the words that lit up the dark.
And we are back. This is Calvin Gibbs, and this is Born to Speak to You TV. Man, we've had an excellent conversation today. You can't pay for this kind of stuff that you got for free today with my guest, Nicky Cuesta. Nicky, I want to thank you so much for being my guest today. If viewers want to interact with you, I see that your email address is on the screen. Is this the best way to reach you? Building a leadership mindset at gmail.com. You're on mute, Nicky.
Yes, that is my email, but you can find me on all socials, Nicky Cuesta. I have a couple profile pictures, but it's still me. And I'm excited to, if you have a question, you want to know how to just step into your unshakable confidence, I am all for it.
Okay. Again, Nicky, I want to thank you so much. And you are always welcome to come back to Born to Speak to You TV. I hope that we can do some business together, interact with each other going forward, and you always have a place here.
Thank you so much. Likewise, can't wait to have you on BALM Podcast.
All right, I'm looking forward to it. All right, we're going to take a little break right here. We'll be right back with our closing. This is Born to Speak to You TV. And we are back. As we wrap up today's episode of Born to Speak to You TV, I want you to sit with this one truth. Your vision deserves a voice, and your voice deserves to be heard. Today, Nicky reminded us that success isn't just about strategy, systems, or scaling. It's about alignment. It's about having the courage to stop shrinking, stop second guessing, and to start speaking life into who you are and what you're building. This episode wasn't just a conversation, it was a reminder that the moments that matter most are the ones where you choose to speak life, even when it feels uncomfortable, even when it feels risky. And before we go, we'd love to keep the conversation going. So we're going to ask you to scan the QR code on your screen where you can watch all episodes of Born to Speak to You TV, all the past, present, and what's coming next, and join the dialogue to talk to us beyond the show. Follow, subscribe, and interact with us on YouTube for behind-the-scenes moment, live conversations, inspiration, and some video clips. And connect with us on LinkedIn for professional insights, thought leadership, and powerful discussions that elevate your voice. Remember, this isn't just a show, it's a community. So scan, connect, and keep speaking your truth with Born to Speak to You TV. And keep speaking life into the moments that matter. I'll see you at the next episode.
Of Brooklyn, where stories grow wild, to the glow of the stage where the dream meets the child. A quiet flame, a hidden spark, drawn to the words that lit up the dark. Curtains rose and so did he, finding power in poetry. One voice, one mic, one sacred truth. Every word he spoke uncaged the youth. He saw the world try to silence the bold, but his soul was wired to break the mold. Now he walks in purpose, pure and true. He was born to speak to you. He's got that rhythm in his truth, that fire in his flow. Speaking life into the moment, watch it grow. Every phrase, every beat, a breakthrough cue. Yeah, he was born to speak to you.